This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
Dave Garrick with Atlas Screen Supply.
This is David Gross with Condi Systems.
Jimmy Lamb with Sawgrass.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by Aaron Montgomery
and Terry Combs.
Ad lib here.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, August 30th, 2019. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com and at equipmentzone.com.
And I am Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, you get to spend some time with the two regular guys all by our lonesome today. So that's going to be a lot of fun, Terry. I'm going to be asking you a question, and I think you've got some experience here, and you guys need to ask yourself this question. If you're a manager, are your management skills up to par? So this is going to be a lot of fun here today, and I think we're going to cover a lot of fun and good ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ground. Yeah,
looking forward to doing this.
Yeah, definitely. So, already got some regulators and jumping in here. So, looking forward to seeing. Good morning, everybody. Christine, good morning. Thank you for joining us here, and appreciate you tuning in. We're only a couple short weeks away from having her host another round of the podcast she's been doing for us quarterly, and we got the fourth quarter one scheduled too. So high five to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There we go. So Terry, what you've been as usual the master of the road trip and traveling and all that kind of fun stuff. What's happened in your world?
Well, and you and I were talking about before we went on the air. I think I'm going to be home for 3 days over the next 3 weeks. But last weekend I did my screen printing class at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, and Catherine Cheney was there. She was an attendee, and she came because of a recommendation of her mom, Marcy Behai, and hopefully, Marcy, I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. She's with Threadgrams, and she's a Two Regular Guys listener. So thanks, and good morning to you, Marcy.
All right. Yeah, excellent. And I got to meet her daughter, and sounds like, I don't know if you remember us talking about this a while back, Terry. It was actually on the show. And maybe you know more of the story now that you got to meet her, but teacher, I believe, and doing some things like that.
Exactly right. And it was funny because when she introduced herself in the class and mentioned she was a teacher, I said, I forgot to ask, because all my classes that I teach in the summertime, there's always one or two teachers and setting up a program. They already have equipment, but doing a program at her high school there in Arkansas, and was a sponge for knowledge. So awesome. I think she had a pretty good time, and I always love the teachers, Aaron, because even Catherine didn't do this, but sometimes when I have everybody introduce themselves, when they come to the class, and sometimes the teachers will stand up and walk to the front. It's just, I can only talk to you if I'm standing in the front of the class.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But
they get used to that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Nice.
So what's going on news-wise with you?
Well, before I get there, I've got some more folks checking in. Just want to say good morning. I know that I will go on all day if I do all of this, but Todd checking in, and we're going to talk a little bit later. Todd's actually going to be joining us next week, Terry, so looking forward to that. Christine says she is looking forward to those podcasts, going to be fun and informative. Yeah, we love those so much. It gives us an opportunity to kind of step back and be the outside looking in and take in a lot of great information. So, Rich, good morning. All right. Yeah. So news that I saw, Terry, here. Let's see here. Hide that message. Screen Printing Rising Stars Award will honor 6 young people whose accomplishments in specialty printing have made an indelible impression. The award is open to individuals 35 years old and younger who are employed in specialty printing businesses. Third-party nominations will be accepted through October 31st. So that's the Screen Printing Magazine's Rising Star Award. And we'll get a link to that into the show notes, and I'm sure Eric will put a link in the comments here. Yep, in fact, he's ahead of me already. That guy. So, and then Terry Michelle says, "Happy Friday." Yes, happy Friday. We made it through another week. Congratulations, everybody. All right. Well, good stuff. So yeah, make sure that you nominate those folks. Unfortunately, Terry, I don't believe you're eligible either. I am not eligible.
You said under 65, right?
35.
Oh, yeah, no.
Just missed it. I only missed it by a decade. So, but we've had an opportunity to talk to lots of amazing young folks. Matt Marcotte was just on with us, and I don't know exactly how old he is, but I would imagine he's in that realm. So definitely make sure that you're getting all those folks nominated through the end of the 31st of October.
Halloween, exactly.
There we go.
All right. Hey, we want to thank all of our regular listeners, the regulators, and any new listeners tuning in today. If you have an idea for a future show, go to our Contact Us page at 2 regularguys.com or reach out to us on social media. We are everywhere as 2 Regular Guys. And if you're catching the live video via Facebook Live, please jump in and participate as many of the regulators do. And with that, Aaron, let's hear a word from our gold sponsor.
This episode of the 2 Regular Guys is brought to you by Bright & Leap, makers of the Reggie Award-winning Embrilliance embroidery software. Embrilliance is different. You don't need hardware dongles or to trade active seats for every user. One license lets you run every computer in your shop at once. Embrilliance runs natively on both Mac and Windows. Your single license lets you install on both platforms. Embrilliance is modular. If you only need customizing with lettering, sizing, and recoloring, you can get just that. Embrilliance's unique stitch processing tools even allow you to resize and improve expanded stitch files from digitizers or stock collections for faster running, lighter embroideries. If you decide you need fully featured digitizing, it's fast and easy to add powerful design creation tools to your system. You can start with any tool and build your ideal kit. All Embrilliance programs run standalone or work together in their unified platform. See the difference for yourself at Embrilliance.com. 2 Regular Guys listeners can enter the exclusive code 2RG, that's the number 2RG, at Embrilliance.com/store for 10% off your entire purchase.
All right. Well, take advantage of that 2RG code to save 10%. And thanks again to Bright & Leap for their support. They are our gold sponsor. We do have other sponsorship opportunities available. You can find those at 2 regularguys.com/sponsorship.
Yep, excellent. And in fact, we've got a new sponsor that's joining us that we'll be talking about here towards the end of the program today. In fact, David is checking in. I'm going back to find the comment. He says, good morning. Terry Saunders checking in. Terry, good morning. TGIF, she says. And then great support of the show. Brian from Embrilliance, Bright & Leap, is joining us. Howdy, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us and making this program happen every Friday. So you guys are awesome, and we appreciate it very much. But let's dive in. Let's get into the what we want to talk about here, Terry. And back to when we first started this, it's like, what are we going to talk about for 30 minutes? But I know you can't do bonus time today because you've got to get off to a demonstration there. So
all right, I have to shoot down to Tempe and do a demo. Then I'm going to go have lunch with my youngest daughter and come back here and get ready to hit the road tomorrow. Going to Seattle to my older daughter. She has 3 little ones under 5 and under. And her husband is a naval officer. He's at sea right now. So usually she comes and stays with me. But, with kids getting in all kinds of activities now, I'm going to go there for 9 days and kind of help out around the house while he's at sea. And he's on his last cruise. So once he gets back, he's 5 years in and he's going to spend a couple of years being an instructor there on the naval base. But this is his last time at sea. So we're pretty excited for him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks very much to him for his service and all the rest of the military folks out there for keeping us safe. And
exactly right.
Yeah. So good stuff there. All right, Terry. Well, I've got some questions for you. And, so I want to dig in and so we're talking management here, Terry. I mean, that's when we talk about the question is, in to quote it exactly, are your management skills up to par? So rather than point out what's wrong with management styles, this or that, let's talk about how a good manager operates. In fact, let's come up with a list of 10 questions to ask yourself to determine if you're a good manager. So Terry, based on your experience, and you've been a manager, you've been an employee. Heck, you've even worked for me, kind of. I don't know if that's actually ever actually true, but we worked together, and I was the one
Right.
that had to answer for you.
Not an enviable position for you.
We had a heck of a lot of fun. And also as a consultant to companies
Sure.
in management kind of roles and stuff like that. What's the first question a manager should ask themselves?
Yeah, and we talk about this and joke about the book that we're going to write, which is how to micromanage your way to success. A little tongue in cheek, but unfortunately, a lot of managers don't realize that maybe their skills aren't up to par. So we talked about these. Having these 10 questions to ask yourself. So the first one is: could you announce today that you need to take an unscheduled trip for 2 weeks and you won't be available by phone, email, Skype, social media, and be confident that the wheels won't fall off the wagon? And this is a serious question, because there are a lot of owners, managers who feel like they can't be gone for a day, a minute. And if that's the case, you're probably a micromanager. And, I think of people like at the top of the show, our intro, Lon Winters, with the Graphic Elephants. I think of Tom Round, out in Iowa, and the activities that they're involved in outside of work. I mean, every time I go on Facebook, I see Lon is off to do some M&R event or consultation.
Yeah.
Tom, I mean, he's the poster child for outside activities, doing the what's the lab? The
shirt lab.
Right,
Yep.
right. And plus, and Aaron, I don't even know if you're aware of this. He is the co-founder of a brewery there in Iowa. So
yeah, he's got his fingers in all sorts of different things, and like you said, he's able to run off to Shirt Lab. He's able to run off. I mean, you see pictures of him, with a U-Haul with some printers or something. I mean, he's all over the place and doing all of these things, and yet his business still operates. His business still is growing, making money.
I actually tried to call Tom yesterday, and no, he was not at the office, but things were humming in without him. But Aaron, I learned something when I was in college. I worked at the college bookstore. That's what it was called, and I got that job because I had a buddy whose parents were friends with the people who owned that bookstore, and so I worked there from my very first day on campus. I was working at the bookstore, and the owner / manager of the bookstore taught me a really interesting lesson about management. And that was he and his wife, who also worked there at the bookstore, would go every year for 2 weeks to Lake Cumberland. They would rent a houseboat, and obviously in those days, that was the 70s. There was no cell phone. There was no way to reach out. There was no email. Surprised everybody out there who's in that 35 and younger category. But what he would say, he would gather everybody around the day before he left, and he said, I don't want to find a single note on my desk saying, what do I do about this? In other words, make a decision, make it happen. Don't bombard me when I get back with your indecision. And I took that to heart, all the way through my professional career, because after I left there, I opened my own business, and I didn't have that business degree. I have a degree in journalism. So I, all the techniques I have for running a business, really, I learned there from Glenn Knutson, who was the owner manager of the college bookstore. So, but everybody should take that to heart. If you leave, yes, don't leave me any notes. Don't call me when I'm in the Caribbean saying, "Hey, should we order the blue ones or the red ones?"
So Terry, I obviously 100% agree with this, and I think this is the perfect place to start. But my question for you then is, what is it that you need to do as a manager to be able to do that? Obviously we're trying to talk about the things that you should be doing. I'm guessing that the reason that some of these things happen to some people is that they're they're constantly involved in all of the decision making process and won't
Right.
give people that. But how do you do that and still feel comfortable? How do you control that?
Well, if you have any intention at all to grow your business, you have to be able to delegate responsibility. And once you delegate that responsibility, trust the folks you've delegated to do a good job. And you know what? Sometimes you have to kind of suck it up and go, wow, that's not exactly the way I would have done that, but I have to allow folks to make these decisions, to make these calls. If I'm gonna grow the business, if I'm going to be able to take a day off now and again.
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of giving people responsibility and trusting them to make good decisions. And hey, you can guide folks along. You can have conversations about how you would like to do this and do that. But you have to trust people, and that's a real issue for a lot of owners. And I get it. You're the one who risked all the money. You're the one who quit your job to start this business. But if you want to go beyond you and two employees, you're going to have to let go of some things. And what you're going to find, though, is that those folks will make good decisions. They will make a real effort to do the right thing, and they'll take that responsibility, and your business will flourish from doing that.
Yeah. I think that's dead on, Terry. I mean, I think getting them to feel empowered, to feel, like I said, there's going to be some bumps. I mean, it's
Sure.
I mean, heck, you as a business owner manager have made plenty of mistakes,
Right.
and so you didn't have somebody there reminding of you of those mistakes all the time, other than yourself, so you've got to fix that self-talk as well. But at the same time, look at those employees and understand, you hired them, you made that decision to bring them on. So if you don't think that they're going to be able to do the job that you're asking them to do, then that's on you, not on them.
Yeah, Aaron, and this is something I've said on this show many times, and so the regulators have heard me say this, but 99.999% of people who come to work for you want to do a good job. And so you have to understand that, right from the start. Those folks, some people, they want to punch a clock, and if they didn't, they'd be out there running their own businesses. But at the same time, they want to come to work and do good work and do a good job, and obviously then be rewarded for it.
Yeah, totally. And if you've got that 0.01% person in your shop, then you need to cut them loose and and again, take responsibility of that for yourself. So
exactly.
Real quick, Terry, before we get on to question number 2 here that you should be asking, Eric is manning the comments for us, as he usually does. Thank you very much, Eric. And he says, all decorators with unrelated degrees, raise your hand. So Terry, I know you've got your hand up. I don't even have a degree, so I guess I can raise mine. And I think Eric is medieval studies or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Pretty wild and interesting, actually.
Unless you went to Pittsburgh State University in Pittsburgh, Kansas, I doubt you have a degree in screen print management, because as far as I know, that's the only university in America that has a screen print management degree.
There you go. All right. Well, so Terry, what's the next question that a manager should ask themselves to make sure that their skills are up to par?
Okay. The next one is, what was the last employee suggestion that you implemented in your business? And in case that was a fluke, what was the one before that?
All right. Well, expand on that for us.
Well, nobody knows more about how to do their jobs than your employees. And if you are open to suggestions, your employees are going to say, hey, if we did it like this, we could be much more efficient. Or if we tracked this, it'd be we would have a much better handle on what we're doing, better serve our customers. Your employees know how to operate your business, and maybe better than you, because you get away from it. You're hopefully in your office, thinking about the big picture and expanding your horizons. But the day-to-day work, your employees, you probably have, if you are not one of those people that takes suggestions, who says, do it because I say so, then you probably have employees right now working saying, man, if we could just do it like this, everybody's life would be so much easier. So take advantage of that, and I've said this, over 7 years of every Friday, Aaron, I've probably talked about all these things at least a couple of times. But buy pizza, bring all your employees in and say, tell me one thing that would make your job easier, that would make your job better. And everybody give me that one thing. And then afterwards, either implement it or explain why that you didn't or couldn't implement it, or maybe we're going to postpone that idea. But once those ideas start flowing and your employees realize that, hey, what they have to say matters to you, then you're going to be flooded with great ideas how to improve your business.
Yeah, totally. I think that's perfect. And I think we can take that one step further too, Terry. And because we've got a lot of folks that are listening in that are truly a small business, a solopreneur, by themselves. But guess what? This doesn't just, if you don't have employees, that doesn't mean that you can't do this. You work with somebody, you've got a vendor, you've got somewhere, some way, heck, your customers, for crying out loud, asking them, that same thing can happen with your customers. Ask them what can make their lives better, but then make sure, like you said, implement that, follow up, explain it. It's okay to say no, but you got to explain it, so same thing. Yeah. I think you can get a lot of valuable feedback. And that's what your job is as a manager owner, is to get the feedback, use the feedback, and move it along. So that's I think a great point, Terry.
When you speak about customers giving you advice, one of the things that I've always done is I will send out supervisors or managers or just regular employees out with sales reps on sales calls to get a better understanding. And I remember distinctly once. Our quality control supervisor coming back, and one of our really big customers, she said, when we went into the store, the buyer said, "Oh yeah, our employees here hate you guys." And she said, "Well, why is that?" And she said, "Because of our shelving, they have to refold all the garments we get from you to fit on the shelf." Well, what a simple thing to rectify. And so for that particular customer, we started folding the garments to fit better on their shelves. And so that was a lesson learned, that we potentially could have lost a very big customer because the employees hated to have to refold every garment that came in the door. So there's something to be learned from everyone.
Yeah. And again, just getting that feedback. Your employees are a great place to get feedback. And you're paying this person to do a job, and you want them to bring their best. To me, it'd be like going and getting an automatic screen printing press that's got 10, 12 heads, whatever, color stations, and then just taking the screen off and setting it on the platen and pushing it through, and not actually using any of the capability of that. That if you're not having your employee do their job, be part of the success, you're not getting the value out of that person, that they can bring. So that's huge, Terry. I think it's great. Let me hit a couple of comments real quick here, Terry, before we get to question number 3 here. Christine said, back when we were talking about the first one here, trusting people to do a good job and accepting how they choose to accomplish the job is so important. One of the main reasons people don't step up is that the penalty for making a mistake or doing things differently can be so severe. I think that's a huge point. And then Brian says, ask them what their frustrations are. They may not have the right solutions, but you can work with them to solve their challenges. And
exactly right.
And what Brian's saying there is, not only do you have an opportunity to fix a solution, fix a problem like you had with the story about refolding the shirts, but now that customer is more loyal to you because they know you give a crap,
Yes. Yeah.
I wrote down this quote the other day, and I'm going to see if I can find it in my book real quick, because it's from Theodore Roosevelt, and I think it's pertinent to this. So I'm going to look that up here real quick. There it is. Just went right by it. Okay. So this is from President Theodore Roosevelt. He says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh, very good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I felt pertinent to me. So.
Indeed.
All right, Terry. So give us number 3. What's the third question?
Yeah, we're halfway through the show. Our list of 10. We're on number 3.
Sorry. All right.
What are we going to talk about for an hour?
Hilarious.
Number 3.
Right.
Have you ever said at work, that was my mistake. This is totally on me. And everybody knows that manager that is infallible. Somebody else caused this issue. It's always somebody's fault. And, it kind of goes back to Christine, where she said, to make a decision, the penalty is severe. Sometimes as an owner, as a manager, you have to say in front of everyone, hey, you know what? That's on me. I accepted an order that we were not capable of accomplishing in this time frame, and it's my fault that we're working overtime, and we'll try to schedule better in the future. But sometimes you have to take take the blame.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, Terry, that take the blame and then just leave it at that, because I think a lot of times we want to show that we're the boss, we're the manager, we don't make mistakes or whatever, that you take the blame, but then also kind of throw it back on them. I think you're going to talk about this. I get to cheat and look at the notes, but oh yeah, this is on me. I took something that was wrong, but you guys should have stepped up and been able to do this without, that kind of. So you didn't really take the blame. You kind of half took the blame. We'll get to more of that.
Right.
Good stuff. Okay, number 4. See, now we're
number 4. Well, yeah, we're going now. When you fired an employee, was it a total surprise to them? And what I mean by that, Aaron, is every person I've ever fired, they knew that they were going to be fired, because I will go over the issue with them and say, okay, and here's the solution. Now, if you accomplish the solution, then we're all good. If you don't, then you understand that we're going to part ways here in 3 weeks or whatever it is. I took a job once on the East Coast running a big production operation. And the day I got there, I was told, oh, and by the way, you need to let so-and-so go today. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, why am I going to let them go? Well, they're not doing a very good job and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, so you've discussed this with him already? Well, no. And I said, well, then no, I'm not firing anybody until I have that conversation with them about what your expectations are. and that is so common, is that, an owner or manager has this expectation in their head that they never communicate to the employee. And needless to say, that employee was not fired while I was there, because I explained what the expectations were, and he started doing what was expected of him. But if you don't communicate that, where do you go from there?
Yeah. I don't think most employees are mind readers. So if they can't read your mind, it's on you. No, and I think really the interesting part, and maybe this is just because I'm really engrossed in this part of it now. You guys know that I really taking on this whole thing here with my Train the Trainer program and the success principles. And the number one principle is take 100% responsibility for yourself. And every event you have to take ownership of that. It doesn't matter if somebody else did something to you. It's how you respond to that and what decisions you made before that got you to that point. So, we've got some great comments here from folks, oh no, I don't have any problem assuming my own mistakes. So that's good. In the end, as the owner, I always feel it's on me. These are the types of things that as managers and owners, you have to be able to take that and learn from it and grow from it and take as an experience to learn. So really cool stuff there. Make sure I'm not missing any comments. There's some good ones here. Okay. Here we go. Christine says, I've done that. This is my mistake. She, quote, this is my mistake thing. It throws people for a loop. In a lot of companies, passing the buck and blaming someone else is the norm. Weirdly enough, taking responsibility tends to work in my favor. Absolutely. I think that's a really good point, that actually taking that responsibility and being able to own that will work in your favor. That when you get into a company, that is micromanaged, and I think that's kind of what we're talking about here today, Terry, is that your joke about the book, 100 ways to micromanage your way to success is definitely tongue in cheek. We are totally against micromanaging, but when you are a micromanager, you're going to find that most of your employees there spend more of their time doing CYA, covering your butt, and not blaming somebody else, just finding a way to blame somebody else, as opposed to being solution oriented and taking responsibility and coming up with their own solutions. So, all right, where do we leave off there?
We're on number 5.
Okay, number 5.
All
go.
Right. When was the last time you thanked an employee for their effort, their idea, their hard work, saving the company money? And be honest here, have you thanked any of your employees for what they do every day? Because, Aaron, there's so many owners and managers who think, hey, I'm paying you to do this job. Why do I need to thank you for doing this job? And and thanking your employees is immeasurable in their self-esteem and their desire to continue doing a really good job.
Yeah. I love every single bit of this, Terry, and I think you've got some great points here. One thing that I was thinking about as I was reading this 5th point that you have there is that we probably, as humans, I don't know if it's as humans, but definitely as managers, I know I've caught myself in this trap where, I'm working so hard to prove or to catch somebody in the act of doing it wrong or whatever, that kind of thing, and to prove how they screwed it up kind of thing. But what if I spent as much time trying to catch them in the act of doing something well and showing everybody about that? A guy that was at an event that I was recently at told a story about, he's a manager of a UPS store. He's an owner of a UPS store. And he had a situation come up where he had to deal with a family emergency and frantically had to run out. And one of his employees said, "Don't worry about it. I got it," and took care of everything and saved the day kind of thing. And, he made it a point of making sure that he recognized that event when it was happening. And the next day in front of his peers, I think, thank you so much for taking, whatever responsibility that needed to be taken that wasn't your job, doing it that little bit extra. It really saved the day for me. And I really appreciate that. He didn't have to give him more money. He didn't have to buy him a gas card or anything like that. He just said thank you, and that went just as far as anything else. So I love number 5.
Aaron, I've told this story many times. This happened years ago, but if anybody follows me on Twitter knows that I start by saying I spend a lot of time in airports. And I was on a flight, and there were 2 pilots sitting to my left. I was not in the cockpit. They were deadheading back somewhere, and I overheard the conversation. And one pilot said to the other, "Just once, I'd like to hear him say, 'Nice landing.'" I'm thinking everybody wants to be told they're doing a good job, and it's so easy to focus on the folks who are struggling, or the folks that are causing a headache for you, rather than focus on that person who's never missed a day of work, the person who was always there stepping up. When you got to do work overtime, the first one to say, "Hey, I'll stay." Focus on those folks, and then the other folks are they're gonna see the attention. They're gonna want the attention too.
Yeah, and so they'll that's a great point. Well, Terry, you are doing a great job. So.
Well, thanks, Aaron. You as well.
Thank you. All right. So give us number 6 there, sir.
Okay. Does every compliment you give, and we're taking a little bit from number 5 here, does every compliment you give include the word "but" in the middle? And oh gosh, I've seen this so many times. "Hey, the nice job, nice sale, but I would have done it like this." nice catch, but that's not a compliment. If it has the word "but" in it, it is not a compliment. So right before you say "but" in that sentence, get rid of the comma and put a period.
Very nice. Okay, that's a good point. I think this was where I was heading a little bit earlier. Because this works in the same way of when you're trying to take responsibility for something as a manager or owner. When you add that "but" in there, now you've just lost every bit of good that comes out of that. So I think that's a
Exactly.
really good point, Terry, to just work on putting a period there.
Exactly.
Okay. So Lenora Lewis says, but, oh, ouch. Okay. Here we go.
Nice.
Terry, I needed to put this one up there. You guys are both doing a great job, and we appreciate what you do. Man,
Oh, very nice, Christine.
makes me feel good. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Awesome.
Let's keep going here, Terry, because I feel like we're doing such a good job today. We're actually going to get done on time.
Which I need to do because I'm
Okay,
going to run,
all right.
run to my car.
That's right. All right. Number 7.
Number 7, and all the regulators are waiting for me to say this. And well, when are you going to mention this? Do you have a comprehensive training program and plan?
Yep, Terry 5215, baby.
Exactly right. And including what happens when an employee starts their job. But Aaron, and you may recall the gentleman's name that we heard at ThreadX talking about hiring new employees. But
yeah,
it was his statement of, whenever I have a new employee come, I have them start 30 minutes after the start of the workday. That way I can be waiting for them at the front door and I can walk them over to a computer. We're going to get them all set up in the system. I'm going to give them a tour of the building and go, do all those things that it's so easy to say, well, we start at 8, show up at 8 and you're caught up in the whirlwind. And here's the way training happens at a lot of decorators. It is, stand here and watch her today, and then tomorrow we'll have you do that job. Well, there's more to it than that, and a well-trained staff is incredibly beneficial to you. And no, nobody's going to steal your secret formula for how to sublimate a piece of Chromolux, because guess what? It's no secret.
Yeah, exactly. It's out there. No, that's awesome, and that's really good stuff. The guy you're thinking of, his name is Bryan Adams, not the singer,
Yes.
Not the singer-songwriter, but
You mean
Olympus
he did not
Group.
buy a 6-string at the 5 and dime?
No, he did not. But I'm sure he could. His company is the Olympus Group. In fact, what they're really, they do a lot of wide format graphics and stuff like that. But what they're really known for is they make mascots. So I don't know if Otis came from there or not, but
I think Otis came from someplace in Southern California. So.
Okay, all right.
Otis is the mascot at Equipment Zone. If anybody doesn't know, it's a little T-shirt man that you can basically only wear for about 10 minutes, because it is very, very, very well insulated.
Nice. Well, I think the training thing is such an important thing, Terry, and yeah, I've seen it. Heck, I've done it where. Situation where, like I said, you put them with somebody, okay, here you go. You watch what this person does, and then you're gonna do it tomorrow. And guess what? I've even seen it happen where watch what this person does, and you're gonna do it tomorrow. And the person that you put them with, they've only been there for a week too. So, and they're like, so everybody's freaked out, and it never goes well. So,
I had a job once, Aaron, where there was a young lady that I kept asking her, where's this, where's that, where's the copy machine,
Yeah.
And finally, about halfway through the day, she goes, I started yesterday. She started one day before I did. But
nice. Well, there you go. They didn't have that comprehensive training program for you, so you're stuck. All right. Let's see here. Where are we at here? Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8. Yeah.
Number 8 is, can you operate at 100% efficiency when any one employee leaves for any reason? And this goes back to number 7, obviously, where you have a well-trained staff, because sometimes you might be the most wonderful company in the world, but people leave for one reason or another. Got an opportunity I've always wanted to live in Phoenix. So
sure.
Boom, I'm going to move to Phoenix. You have to be in a position where when somebody leaves, you can maintain, I hear so many people talking about, well, my printer left. It's a small company,
Yeah.
and the one person who knew how to pull a squeegee or push a squeegee. Don't want to start that debate.
Oh, yeah, we don't have time for that.
That person left, and you'd be surprised how many people come to my screen printing class because their printer left, and so they have to come and learn how to do the process. Well, don't ever be in that position where you're totally dependent on one person, because what you're going to find is that you're also going to be making decisions based on, what if I ever lose this employee?
Yeah. Yeah. So just send every one of your employees, as soon as they're hired, right to Terry's screen printing class, and
Exactly
you're
right.
good to go.
That's where this road's leading now.
Okay.
Not
all right.
true
Well,
at
we can
all.
wrap it. We can wrap it up there. No, just kidding. Okay. All right. Number 9. We're doing this. We're going to get done on time.
Is there one employee on your staff who should likely be invited to leave? There's if you have 10 employees, there's probably one that's that black cloud. Everybody's afraid to cross them. Everybody turns the other way. You walk into the break room and that employee's there, and you turn around and walk back out and go eat in your car. And again, maybe this is back to number 8, where you're dependent on someone, even though that person is a black cloud over your business. So, sometimes you have to lay out to them, okay, here's the scenario, and a bad attitude, by the way, is not a protected class in the United States. A bad attitude, and I've had employees like that, especially, when my career has mostly been going into up and running production operations, and having to deal with employees. I remember one time there was somebody running an embroidery machine, not running an embroidery machine, because I walked out on the floor and she was sitting in a chair next to her machine. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, one of the owners had been running the embroidery machine the night before, trying to get some job out, and didn't clean it up. And I'm waiting for him to come and clean up the machine." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I went and punched her out and came back by and I said, "Hey, as soon as you're ready to work again, don't forget to go and punch back in." And she was beside herself. But again, I also had the conversation with her where, okay, your attitude about your job is again not a protected class, and that was an employee, by the way, who I laid out, here's what you need to do, and 2 weeks later she quit because she did not want to operate that way. She wanted to go around and grouse and grump and complain to people, and I don't run a shop like that. So I gave her the opportunity, and she opted to leave, and it was like a black cloud moving away from the building.
Nice. All right. So Eric says in the comments there, it's a good reminder that taking soft skills into account is important in the hiring process. And I think it kind of follows along with what you're talking about there, Terry, is that, when you are hiring folks too, just because they can do the job, they can push or pull a squeegee, or they can, they're good at that part of it. That's only one bit of being an employee of working in a company. That's, in fact, most of the time you can probably train most of the hard skills.
Oh, exactly right.
It's, if you've got somebody that's got a great attitude and a willingness to learn and a team mentality and social skills and all of those other things, that's somebody you want to hire over maybe somebody that has more hard skills but doesn't have those things. I that's the way I've always looked at it. So, and then Brian says, I was the black cloud and was asked to leave. So,
wow, Brian,
we're not asking you to leave here, Brian. So you're good.
Brian's got some self-awareness going there.
Love it. All right, Terry, number 10, man.
I felt like we stretched out the beginning, so I was trying to compact the end and look at us right on time. Yeah. So number 10 is something we've kind of touched on already, but what is your reaction when an employee made a decision that didn't end well? and that's going to happen. It happens when any of us make a decision. Sometimes the decision backfires on us, and my response to that is, you have to be happy, first of all, that they made the decision.
Yep.
And second of all, discuss why it backfired in a calm manner. The minute you go ranting and raving across your production floor because something didn't end well, that's the last decision anybody's going to make.
Yeah.
Aaron, one of the things that I always do in my shops is this, and I've talked about all these things on the show before, but when somebody comes into my office with a problem, my response is always, well, what would you do to solve this problem? And then all of a sudden, when people come into my office with a problem, they come in and say, hey, we have this issue. I think we should do this. And then after a while, they stop coming to my office because not only did they see a problem, come up with a solution, they implemented the solution. That's all, I think what good management is about.
Yeah.
Trust your employees. Don't freak out if something doesn't end well. Not every decision is going to be 100% correct, but you can't react so that people are afraid to make that decision. And Christine made a comment along those lines early on in the show. So.
Yeah, definitely. I love that we get to talk about this stuff, Terry, because not only do these things make good managers, your management skills up to par, but I think a lot of these things, if you really kind of step back from it a little bit and take it in, this makes you a good person, makes you a good parent. It makes you a good, I can think about the same type of thing with my son, for example. I always try to not, he's got to make his own decisions, and how I react to how he makes those decisions, he's going to make some mistakes. I look back on my life and I made a lot of mistakes, so how I react to those things for my son is important, and the same type of thing can be had. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let's figure out, what we can do differently. What did you learn from this? What's the experience? And, celebrate those mistakes in a lot of ways. So, and I think that is just kind of goes right along with this. And as a manager, your job is to kind of keep people on track, and it's tough to be a manager sometimes, especially a manager owner, because, your people skills, you kind of want to be friends with people and stuff like that. It's not about that. It's about helping them and keeping them on track and having those difficult conversations, and that's what I've always loved about taking in information from you, Terry, is you've been very open about, I've had these conversations. I will have these conversations with people. And I think that's what's made you such a good manager.
Well, thank you for saying that. And hey, what have we missed? Are there questions that the regulators can think of that managers, owners should be asking themselves? So
definitely,
we'd love to see those ideas.
Bring those ideas in there, and let's see here. There are definitely a couple comments I want to get to here real quick. This was back when. So Christine said, and I think this applies back into maybe even into number 9 there. When I was younger, you know what? I'll put it up on the screen. I don't think it's going to all show up. But when I was younger, I went through a period where I had a very negative attitude. One of the best things a boss ever did for me was call me on it. Not only telling me it was a problem, but telling me why. I took it to heart and made an effort to change. It's had a huge impact on me. So,
And that is another question, by the way. When you announce anything in your shop, do you explain why? And again, not because I'm the boss. We're going to make this change to how we do things, and here's why we're doing that. And that makes all the difference, because just announcing a change is just so arbitrary for the employees. They're looking at each other like, well, why are we doing it differently? What happened? What's the secret?
Getting people want to do things, they want to buy in, but they need to know why, and like you said, it's not good enough to just say, I'm the boss. That's why, again, I wrap this right back up to dealing with my son. He doesn't care if I say, just do it because dad said so.
Right.
He's like, I don't give a crap, dad. You need to tell me why I'm doing this, because I'm an 8-year-old who's very inquisitive. So, sorry, I keep wrapping it back to that.
Don't make me come back there is not the response we need.
No. All right. Brian has one here I'd like to get to. Cue for the list. When was the last time you did something fun with your staff?
Oh, there you go. Aaron, let me give another example of that. The people out in production think, well, the people up in the front office, man, they've got it great because it's hot back here. It's summertime. And I remember when I was in Kansas City, I had all the owners and managers, senior managers, come out at break time with a cart, and they were serving up ice cream cones to the staff. Man, that was such a huge thing for those production floor employees who were thinking, they do realize it's hot out here. It's tough working in a production environment, especially in the summertime. So yeah, that's a great example of, do something fun with your staff. I love that.
Yeah. And fun in, get to know them too. You might want to, let's do something fun. And you pick this event that, is totally up your alley, but most of your staff's like, I just got to do this another stupid thing that the boss wants to do, kind of thing. But you know what? If you figure out what it is that they enjoy and you participate in that, and I mean, like I said, ice cream, I found out that an employee really likes cherry Pepsi. So getting her a 6-pack of cherry Pepsi made a huge difference. Not because, I like cherry Pepsi. I think it's kind of gross, but, having that thing to do with them.
You probably couldn't do this today in today's environment, but years ago, I worked at a company where one of the owners would call me up on a Friday and say, I think it's mandatory overtime. And I'd be like, oh, no, not mandatory overtime. and so I would get on the speaker saying, I've just been informed that it's mandatory overtime day, and everybody would start yelling, yay. That meant he was going out to buy cases of beer and sit on the dock at the end of the workday, and everybody sat out there and have a couple of beers and just kind of chit chat with each other.
Nice.
And it was called mandatory overtime.
I love it. That's a great story. So Christine says the why is important. Understanding how my negativity affected the office and other people, it made much more of a difference than just being told I was being negative. Once I got the why, changing made a lot of sense. Which it's amazing that Christine's, first off, the fact that Christine was negative is like just mind blowing to me. She's such an amazing, nice person. So, wow. All right, Terry. Well, we got through 10. We're going to get done on time here today. So let's go ahead and wrap this up here.
Yeah.
We've got a brand new sponsor that's helping support our program. And so we want to hear a word from them, Ace Transfer Company. And David Shaw has been a longtime supporter of our program, and we appreciate
and
him.
Definitely a regulator.
Total regulator. In fact, he told me that he came specifically to DAX Chicago to come to our 300th episode. So that was really cool, and we really appreciate that. So let me get that queued up here real quick, Terry, and we will hear a word from them. And sorry, I've got to. I wasn't quite ready. It's new, I got to get.
Well, see, the one thing about this show is I get to just sit here and talk, and you're running the board, doing all the other things while you talk.
All right. Well, let's hear a quick word from Ace Transfer Company, and then we'll come back and wrap this all up for today.
Have you been looking to grow your business or start one in the garment decoration industry? After all, that's why you're listening, right? Ace Transfer Company is located in Springfield, Ohio, and we've provided our customers with high-quality transfers, competitive prices, and great customer service for nearly 30 years. Ace Transfer Company offers a wide variety of garment decoration services, including screen-printed transfers, contract screen printing, direct-to-garment or DTG, dye sublimation, signs, banners, heat transfer vinyl, pressure-sensitive vinyl, and more. Use your own designs or have our in-house artists assist you in creating eye-catching transfers. At Ace, we are dedicated to helping your business succeed, so print your vision at Ace. For more information, visit our website, acetransfercompany.com. Send us an email at acetransco@gmail.com. That's ACETRANSCO@gmail. Or give us a call at 800-525-3126.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your sponsorship, and thanks to David for being such a great supporter of the show.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Terry, I wanted to go back real quick here because we did get a question.
We can't start again. No,
I know. So let's start with number one. Evelyn had a question here that I'd like to get your take on this because I think there's some more valuable information here. What to do when an employee is a tattletale and expects you to correct others when they do the same thing?
Well, yeah, I think that's a situation where I've had. I remember going into a shop one time, and there's always somebody that pulls you aside and says, "Well, now so and so over there, they need to be let go, and here's why." and my response was, "Listen, everybody has a clean slate with me." And we're starting from square one, and I'll make that judgment for myself. So no, you don't need to tell me about it.
Yeah. And I think that, part of that is, I don't know, for some reason, to me, that person that feels like they need to be a tattletale, I think just in general, it's typically them. Well, like Ellen said, when they're doing the same thing. So it's typically them projecting themselves onto somebody else. And I think just having that sit down conversation with them about, what teamwork means, how to kind of, process this stuff, and let's focus on the positives, and
right.
I think that, and again, a lot of this I'm just talking to myself because I'm projecting myself out there, but yeah, bring in that teamwork mentality. Maybe have them work together, do some team kind of activities where those people, the tattletale and the person they're tattling on, they have to work together. Maybe they just don't know each other. They don't understand each other at a personal level. And so there's some of that butting heads going on.
Well, and Aaron, and the way people operate in your business is a total reflection of ownership, of management. If you hear people being very abrupt on the phone with customers, they probably learned that from you.
Yeah.
So, so your attitude, the way you react to people, the way you act in your office, the folks under you are going to be have that exact same attitude, are going to react exactly the same way.
Totally. Okay. All right. So we got 2 minutes to do this, Terry. We can do this. But, I'm gonna throw it to you because you got to get on the run here. But when what do you got coming up here?
Okay, well, September 11th, I'll be in Columbus, Ohio, hosting the Equipment Zone DTG class before the MBM show there, and I'll be in the Equipment Zone booth September 12th through 14th, and I'll be a part of the DTG Academy at Equipment Zone in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey on September 19th and 20th. And my upcoming complete screen printing business course, Nashville with Atlas Screen Supply, October 26th, 27th. Phoenix with Workhorse Products, November 2nd and 3rd. And I'm going to wrap up my year in Chicago with Atlas Screen Supply on November 16th and 17th. And all my 2019 and 2020 events are at terrycombs.com under tour dates. How about you?
Excellent. Yeah, it got good stuff. The tour dates thing's all up to date. That's perfect. All right. So tomorrow morning, Small Business Saturdays, we're gonna keep it rolling at 7 a.m. We've had good turnout. I'm really impressed with the small businesses out there. 7 a.m. I'm trying to do much better. I'm not a morning person, as Terry knows. So, but I'm going to talk about some e-commerce stuff. So kind of a little preview of what we'll be talking about next week here on Two Regular Guys. And so you can catch that over at my Facebook page, facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info. And the other thing going on is my webinar, Becoming a Digital Marketing Superhero, is out there and you're able to sign up now for it. It's happening Monday, November 11th, 2019, which is Veterans Day. So we're actually doing some cool stuff with that too. But if you head over to my website at aaronmontgomery.info/marketing and sign up, we're limiting it to 50 people because I want to make sure we have lots of good interaction and opportunity for question and answer. And we're already at 10. We've got 10 people signed up. So, this will fill up. We obviously launched all this information early, so there's still quite a bit of time between now and November, but do not wait because this will fill up. And regulators, use the code REGULATOR, not with an S, just REGULATOR, and it will save you $25. So it's half
Awesome.
off the program. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that. And then the launch of the decorators community will be happening. Again, we won't know exactly what it is, but we're going to go to Fort Worth and kind of throw our ideas out there and see what everybody else thinks. And so if you want to sign up for more information on that program, the decorators community, just go to our website at tworegularguys.com/decorators community. And then make sure if you're at the ISS Fort Worth area, you stop by October 3rd through the 5th and stop by and say hello. Terry will be there with Equipment Zone, but we'll drag him over. Clay sent me the booth number, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. So I'll get that posted out there. We're right back next to the Impressions booth in the back of the hall. So going to be a lot of fun back there with Clay from Training in Corral. So that's what I got coming up. So I think that should do it, Terry. We've closed this thing out and we're nearly on time.
All right. Hey, we also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell. You can find him at ericcampbell.com. Thanks to our sponsor, Brilliance, and their family of products, and to our newest sponsor, Ace Transfer Company, acetransfercompany.com.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks to all of them. And Terry Saunders says prayers for all of those in the path of Hurricane Dorian. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Make sure everybody stays safe and remember what's important. So definitely great stuff, Terry. Next week, we're going to have Todd Downing joining us, and he's going to help us talk about e-commerce. He's going to talk about setting up Euclid. He had to actually help me figure out how to pronounce that, but
it isn't spelled that way.
Yeah. and I'm still pronouncing it wrong. Who knows? But and then I'm going to bring some information about Shopify, but we're going to talk some e-commerce next week.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to that, and
Absolutely.
should be a lot of fun.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.